Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record weekly review special for week 40 of the Gaming Decathlon competition. This week, I brought in 2,290 points, finally back above the 2,000 mark after last week's 1913 score. Best round is still 600 points away, but much closer than where we've been of late. Current virtual best now over 3,000 at 3047. Much better than last week's 2838. So this was a good week. The all-time virtual best also increasing this week, still in the 6,000 range though, 6,084, not yet to 6,100. We've got a landmark coming up real soon, and a whole bunch of landmarks coming up, and we are really right on the edge of breaking into that. Looking at the 10 games individually, in Pro Cycling Manager 2019 versus the career mode, not a massive score this week, only 14 more points than the previous week. However, we're, 5 stages of the way through a 7-stage race right now. So as we get through that and the major points that are available, and we're currently in the race lead, however, the toughest stages are coming, and it's going to be really difficult to maintain that, or it's going to be difficult to maintain a top 5 realistically. But if we can maintain a top 10, or if we can pull off a top 5 or better, whatever it may be, anything in that top 10 range is going to come with quite a few points for a small continental team like ourselves, and a pretty good point hauling type race like the Tour of Utah. So definitely looking forward to that wrapping up next week and seeing this score jump quite a bit from where it's at right now. Now, the stage racer for the Pro Cyclist mode, we eclipsed the 300 mark this time. That rider is already Continental Pro, so we can see how much earlier we are in the season, and yet that score is higher than in the career mode. And that big difference is being Continental Pro, getting those higher prestige races, getting a few World Tour races under our belt. In the Classics mode, similar thing, similar timetable to where we're at on the stage racer, but only 177 points. So much of that, even though we're in that Continental Pro, so much of that is coming down to the schedule of the team and the support of the team. I've got a team that has no faith in itself, but it has high expectations for me. So I'm not leveling up quickly because the expectations are so high. But I'm also not getting team support because the team expectation overall is so low. So every rider's riding for themselves, and then I'm stuck in limbo trying to squeeze something out. So I'm not really in the right races, and it's just one challenge after another. So scoring haul, not great. But I added 33 points this week, so I mean, that's something. Got some results there. Motorsport Manager still on 3 points. Difficult couple of races this time where we were kind of legitimately where the team belonged. There was 0 DNFs to boost us up, to push us along, to give us some sort of help. There was only a couple spins. That there weren't the drive-through penalties, so we didn't take advantage of anything because there was nothing to take advantage of. Therefore, it didn't push us near the top 10, but we legitimately beat a number of cars that are theoretically better than us. Just didn't get into the points. We still sit on 3. Steel Division 2, that's still on that 3rd campaign, but we did make a breakthrough for one of the objectives that is creating a window of opportunity to get in there and get at it. So looking forward to that. Also a mild breakthrough on the other front as well. And so that's what we've needed. And that's our ticket. That's our pathway. So we did what we needed to do now, and we're able to start bypassing other parts of the front and pushing through. We'll see how well that works in the coming episodes, but making progress. Rebel Cops is the new one. This replaced Chef. I've already had it for a couple weeks, but Chef was wrapping up, so Chef was still on this score table as a week ago. And Rebel Cops, I'm still not certain on what my scoring method is going to be, because there's not enough information on what the end game is like, how many missions there are, what it takes to beat the game. takes to perfect the game, to master the game, to show it off as, yay, we did it. From what I can tell, there's a limited number of missions, probably less than 20. And that's really all there is the missions. It's really hard to balance anything else out with it. So just the way that the game works, the way it functions, how it is, I'm assuming that I just have to kind of stick with it and go through it, and eventually I'll figure it out and adjust accordingly. But as far as I can tell, there's going to be 20 or fewer missions, and as a result, I'm assigning 50 points per mission. Complete the mission, add 50 points to the score. We're 3 missions complete and through, so that's where we're at for now. Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2019. We did it. We got to the Final Four. We got to the championship game, and we were in it. We were neck and neck. We were battling. We had a lead. They had a lead. It was a heck of a game going until about 5 minutes into the second half, and we went ice cold. Ice cold. We made 1 field goal in like 9 minutes. One freaking field goal. And we even got to the free throw line a couple times and missed our free throws. So it just fell apart. It fell apart. We were never going to be the favorites. I mean, we were so far off that from Duke. It was our Conference A opponent in Duke that we played in the national championship. So they won. We took second after a really, really poor second half where, again, just the shooting just went ice cold. And some of them were wide open. I mean, it wasn't just Duke's defense stifling us. We did settle for some bad shots in there. They didn't even have the momentum, per se. I used timeouts to negate that. I used 2 timeouts during the stretch. Anyway, we lost. So, we took second place in the nation. Flipping amazing. So, big score boost, 645. That's, new record there. It's still 5th place in the all-time virtual best, and that was the only score change there. So, that takes care of talking about the all-time virtual best. Everything's the same, but we added 55 points to this game. But the one disappointing piece after losing the national championship, we played in the national championship. Our prestige only went up by 6 points. I don't know what we've got to do. I thought for certain we'd see a 10 or 15 point jump. We're still the lowest prestige school in all of Conference A by some margin, and we are now equivalent of the lower third, almost middle of Conference B, which is okay, it's respectable. But what do I have to do? I mean, I played in the national championship. I know we lost. But taking second place out of the entire sport is not a bad result. You can't have just one team significantly improve its prestige, which, by the way, Duke had like a 95, 96 anyway, so now they're just back at 100. But it wasn't like we were at 90 and you boosted us to 96. I mean, I was 59 and now 65 or whatever it is. I remember that the number was 6, but I forget what it went from and what it went to, but it's somewhere in that range. I mean, it's mid-60s now. It's respectable. But what do we have to do? Elite Eight, Elite Eight, Elite Eight, national championship game, and we still can't get a decent prestige level. That's the difference between recruiting the top players and getting the second tier players that we're getting, which is almost there but not quite. We can't win a championship with the second tier guys. So I guess we got to just keep grinding. Nothing else I can do. Anyway, so that's that. PCM 18, career mode, that long-running series, 134 points, still Continental Pro. A little shy on points on where I've been. I'm not sure if I'm going to beat last season's total. We're in the same division, and the team's slightly better than it was. That's all I can say. It's still early, I guess, so there's plenty of time left. So I think we're on rate to beat it. F1 2019, the last question mark career. finally. So, after a really rough start to that series, really rough start. First, 5 episodes, we were 18th or below every race. Always in the back, really struggling. I finally found the balance. I finally got something that works, where it's competitive. I don't blow by the field and rush to the front. But I also am not using a million flashbacks. I used 1 or 2. I take some damage, but not a ton. And I fight and I battle and I work my way up the order a bit now. So in the last however many races, I've lost track and I'm not sure where I left off on the final episode of this week. But in the last number of races, I've had 1 DNF. And the rest have been solid results. So we've reached the end of the first season. 3rd team, got fired twice in a row, but now have a little bit of stability with Renault. And we finished with 212 points. In the end, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Now the 212 points, that's not 212 drivers' points. That's a combination of the assists, the AI level, the upgrades, and then we earned 16 drivers' championship points. Not much. The good news is I'm only giving up those 16 points starting out the new season. So there's that. We're not taking a big step backwards, and that total should eclipse the 212 very soon. So yay, good. All right. College football. We've got 8 wins as we've come up just before the end of the season. Recruiting, though, was really tough for us this week. Really tough. As we went through these few weeks on the calendar, football might have been going well, but recruiting, we just got demolished by other schools coming in and taking away players. So the handful of quality players that I always get, they're like all gone. And we this is looking like it might be the worst recruiting class I've had since I've started doing the going for scraps method, the picking up the guys that nobody else recruits. And if you're not familiar with the series, the school has no prestige. I started with a coach that was level 0 on everything, so that it would be intentionally really difficult. And it is. We literally can't beat any school for a recruit. So I really had to settle on bottom feeders the first couple seasons. And that was bad. We were bad. But then I found something. I found an opening. If you look carefully, you can find the guys that aren't being recruited by other schools. And you can find better players that way. You just have to sift through a lot to find those guys. But then, as the season progresses and other schools come in and decide they do want to recruit those players, bye-bye. The interest level drops by like 30 with a snap of a finger. Because I'm bad at recruiting, we have no prestige, we're not in a Power 5 conference, and therefore they say, see you later. It keeps happening. So you have to recycle and find the next one, the next highest ranked guy who's not being recruited. And we've hit that point where they're stealing everybody from us. And we are going way down the list to really low ranks. And we haven't had to do that to this extent. So it's a bad year recruiting. And I'm worried about that. Really worried about that for next season. But that's going to do it for this review special. Like I said, it's a good week because we got back above 2,000, and not by a small margin either. I mean, 2290, that's over a quarter of the way to 3,000, and we've never had a week with 3,000. Be nice to do that. I mean, ultimately, the goal is 10,000. Of course, we're really looking at it for the all-time virtual best, and it's over 6 now, so, I mean, we're getting there. That's the main marker. I'm not looking at it for 1 week, getting all the games synced up at the exact same time to win all 10 games on the same week. Yeah, that's not how that's going to work. So very much more focused on the all-time or the current set, and the current set 3,000. So we very much have not mastered the games that we have. But looking at that scoreboard one last time before I go away, 9 of 10 games are over 100. 100's only 10% of mastery, but it's something. It's something. I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, if you like to crunch numbers, if you're into stats, I mean, little landmarks like that make all the difference. If you're a numbers guy, and I'm a numbers guy, otherwise, you know, what am I doing here? Right, that's going to do it for this review special. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to drop a like, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.